Widows, boys and girls, how are we all doing? Today we're looking into baby monitors and their use in paranormal investigations or ghost hunting, or more to the point, why they're useless for this. So baby monitors have found this sort of unexpected secondary market amongst ghost hunters. They've been used because of their ability to detect sound and to detect motion, and to be able to do both of those things remotely. Fair enough. These devices can be really inexpensive. They're widely available. I mean, you can just pop down to Mothercare if that still exists. I don't know. My kids are grown up. They are very easy to use, so you don't have to worry about being a videographer or anything. So it looks like a cheap or an attractive option for amateur investigations, and professional investigators have started using these things in a bid to bolster the potential for capturing paranormal experiences or activity. And what's happening is there are eerie sounds being captured. Unexplained motions and movements are being captured on video. And baby monitors are being featured on viral ghost video clips, paranormal video clips. You know, you see them in top 5 channels. These things have been periodically used on and off for years. But are these things reliable to use in a paranormal investigation? Absolutely not. So allow me to explore the flaws in using baby monitors for a paranormal investigation. I'll be debunking some of the misconceptions about these devices, and I'll also be highlighting why using these things leads to more confusion than clarity. So first off, obviously, we have to understand how baby monitors function. And modern baby monitors fall into 2 categories. You get audio monitors, and these just detect and transmit sound from one location to another. Often old school ones, you know, analog sound, and now there are digital radio frequencies that these things use. But with technology, we now have video baby monitors. They transmit both video and sound to a receiver. You can even check these things on your mobile phones, and a lot of these now include infrared for night vision. It's important to note that both of these types of devices, they're designed with a very, very specific purpose. It's for monitoring the well-being of your baby or a child. And the sensitivity of these things are tuned to detect noises or movement that might indicate a safety concern. They're not designed to distinguish between ordinary or extraordinary events. And the way they're designed leads to a narrow focus. And that's the root of any of the issues that I'm going to bring up in using baby monitors or repurposing them for ghost hunting and paranormal investigations. So there are technical flaws in these devices that can lead to false positives. For example, interference and cross signals. I mean, older baby monitors are actually notorious for picking up stray signal interference, picking up stray radio signals or taxis, two-way radios, nearby walkie-talkies. And this can lead to like these disembodied demonic evil sounds, and they are then broadcast through the monitor, leading to people to be shocked at this demonic growl in the kid's bedroom and stuff. And a lot of the times this is what's featured on these top 5 channels is misconstrued sounds. You see, the microphones on these things are not very good. Neither are the cameras. What if you're using a more modern, more expensive version? The type that are Wi-Fi enabled, you know, they're encrypted, so you shouldn't get any stray signals. Well, technically not, because these brands have glitches and can overlap from networks. And again, you'll end up getting distorted audio or video artifacting. And at first glance, it can look inexplicable, but it's really easily explainable. On that subject, we have to look at the artifacting and the sensitivity issues. The microphones that are built into baby monitors are designed to be very, very sensitive, extremely sensitive, because they're designed for you to be able to hear your baby breathing. And babies typically don't breathe very loud. They breathe very shallow. Their lungs are tiny. And then a baby will move its arm and the sound comes through very, very loud. Think of these things like a modern DR60 with video attached to them. But what happens is these microphones are so oversensitive that these devices are picking up noises that are inaudible to us without regular hearing. So in with these microphones being so sensitive, what they're actually doing is amplifying background noises, and they're amplifying them through a cheap system. So the sound becomes compressed and horrible, and then regular things like a pipe creaking is going to sound like a groan. Creaks in floorboards because the temperature's shifting, or even the baby rolling in a crib, are going to lead to these false positives for ghost hunters, that there's something creepy growling in the room. It's not. It's regular sounds that we probably can't hear from a different room with our own ears. But sensitive microphone is picking it up and distorting it. Some of these sounds are going to end up sounding like whispers as well. And then all that does is fuel further misconceptions, and it fuels these top 5 channels to keep pumping these videos out of creepy baby monitors. Then you look at the video monitors. They're no good, especially the ones with infrared, because insects, dust particles, even pixelation blurring in the low light conditions just makes distortions of everyday things somehow seem otherworldly. For example, an insect will fly past because of the compression rate, because of the poor sensor. What is a minuscule little bug with legs and wings will look like this giant glowing orb, and it can shimmer and twist and turn, and you're like, it looks like a ghost, and it's not. It's a gnat, really close to the lens. For example, if you watch most of these baby monitor footage videos that you see out there, and you see a baby move, there's like a trail. Baby will move and there's a motion blur. It'll leave a white trail in IR. Imagine what that's doing to an insect that's close, reflecting light straight back into the camera lens. But then when you take these flawed devices as they are and you use them for other means, for example ghost hunting, there's an expectation bias. And because of this expectation bias, every unexplained knock, sound, growl, moan or image is likely to be interpreted as some sort of evidence because the user is looking for the paranormal, it is looking for ghosts. And then this bias is being linked into this eerie atmosphere that is basically compounded by baby monitors and the bad feeds, low resolution video, night camera imagery, and the audio that is frankly just full of static. Then you have to look at things like pareidolia. When you've got all of this artifact and all of these horrible, nasty effects of a cheap camera and a cheap microphone, you're getting audio pareidolia, you're getting video pareidolia. Our bodies are trained to see faces in shapes. It's like a defense mechanism. You can see a very ordinary shadow on one of these things seem quite sinister and with a face, and it is nothing but camera artifacting and pareidolia from the visuals. The sounds are the same. If, for example, you're using these outside of a child's nursery and you're using these in an abandoned building, abandoned buildings are quite noisy. Often you've got broken windows, you've got insects, you've got rats, mice, and these things will be scurrying around about you and you may not hear them. But these oversensitive microphones are picking up all of it and they don't know what to make of it because it's not trained to listen to that. It's trained on babies breathing and babies crying. And lately, in seeing people using baby monitors again for paranormal investigations, it's reflecting a much bigger problem in the paranormal community and in the paranormal field. And it's the lack of any scientific validation to these things. It is also the lack of any standardized methods. Whilst I'm not a big equipment man, there's plenty of equipment out there you can buy that is designed for ghost hunting, and I'm convinced that most of them are designed to give you false positives. But when you take something like a baby monitor or an SLS device, which is, built for gaming consoles, you've not got any calibration for what they're intended for. A lot of these people are using baby monitors, are using the DR60, are using all of these things that were not designed for ghost hunting, and they don't understand the basic design flaws. A lot of people don't understand what these devices were intended for. They don't understand how they work. They've not read the manual. They've just gone, hey, this captures video, let's use that. So there's no calibration, there's no precision, there's no credible data. And I think some of these teams know this and they're using them anyway because it gives you these ghostly images, because it gives you these demonic growls, because it picks up whispers that are just pipes or floorboards contracting or animals in abandoned properties. And realistically, has anybody ever scientifically looked at a baby monitor as a ghost hunting device? Because I can't find anything on there. So there's no basis for why a baby monitor could pick up paranormal activity any better than your regular video camera. You'd be better off in a controlled area with an EVP recorder. I don't believe in EVPs at all. I've never heard anything that convinces me that they are legitimate. But if you buy a decent voice recorder and you're not holding it in your hand and rubbing your hands on it, and you're not wearing a wax coat and moving your arms while you're asking your questions or turning your head, if it's placed on a table away from yourself and you ask a question loudly, clearly, and then you stop and you wait and you wait and you wait, and then you pick up the device, you play it back, there's your question. If your question comes back out of that device sounding like an oversensitive, garbled mess, you then have to unfortunately discredit anything that that device picks up. If your voice comes back out loud, crisp and clear, you've got a good microphone there. And then if you pick something up, it could be interesting. If you pick up a voice and you know for a fact, because you've got a camera on your face, that you haven't spoken, swallowed, or clicked your neck, or, you know, your torch has rubbed against your trousers. There's so many false positives when it comes to EVP recorders that to use an even cheaper version that's built in just to detect a baby's breath seems redundant to me. So why buy baby monitors when you can buy infrared cameras? I use a Sony AX53. Now, obviously, if I'm going to go to 30 East Drive and I want to capture every room, I can't afford to do that. I can't buy 5 or 6 Sony AX53s, but then it's like, well, you've got to cover every angle, so then you need 2 cameras in each room. People will use things like I have up there in this room, the little CCTV systems, but I'm not using these CCTV systems to detect voices. I'm not going to be using these CCTV systems to detect orbs or anything like that. It's just something, if I hear a bang in a room and then I go up and something is clearly fallen and it happens to be on one of these cameras, absolutely fantastic. For me, it'll make it into a video, but I'll see. This thing could have just fallen, but the compression rate on these cameras can't rely on it. It's just to bolster what I've heard or experienced. These are designed to capture audio from in a room, but they're not very good. If these pick up some sort of demonic voice, that will not go into my investigation as evidence. Why? Because external noises are going to sound horrible. Because the microphones on these things are crap. The cameras on these things, they say 4K, they're not. They're not even 2K. Most of the time, it's 720p, and they're very jittery. I only want them to bolster if something happens, something falls over in a room, hopefully the camera's captured it and we can just show that we didn't cause that. I use a 4K camera, a Sony AX53. If I capture a ghostly voice on that, I'm still not going to chalk it up to paranormal because the microphone are not brilliant on them. That's why I use external microphones, why I use the DJI lapel microphones. But image-wise, there's far less pixelation, far less distortion. So why use a baby monitor in the first place? I understand you can't buy an AX53 for every room or a Canon whatever camera, but to use baby monitors as proof of the paranormal, absolutely not. To use CCTV like I'm going to as proof of the paranormal, absolutely not. It's to bolster what you already think has happened or to debunk what has already happened. For example, hey, that thing's fallen off the bed. That's very strange. You check your CCTV camera back. While the quality is garbage, you see the windows open, a curtain's blown, and it's knocked something. Things like that. So your AX53, your CCTV cameras, your decent audio recorders, they are not without limitation. They are not definitive proof, and I will never claim that they are. At least with a 4K AX53 or even better cameras. There are much better cameras on the market. They're just very, very expensive. You've got a little bit more control over environmental variables and, you know, strange sounds, etc. Strange images, because you're getting less artifacting. Your videos are crisper and clearer to look at and listen to. You've eliminated some of the false positives that a baby monitor or a CCTV camera would give you. And in conclusion, baby monitors belong in a nursery, not on paranormal investigations. Baby monitors seem like a cool idea, right? A convenient, affordable tool for ghost hunting. The technological limitations and the susceptibility to all different types of interference, and the fact that you will get false positives from these devices, it makes them a very, very poor choice for a paranormal investigator to use them. The primary use of baby monitors, whether it's audio or visual or both, the primary purpose of a baby monitor is just that. To monitor your baby. What that means is these devices are ill-equipped to distinguish between the mundane and the mysterious. So my advice to people using baby monitors or to people watching channels that are using baby monitors would be to discount that as evidence, unless something is captured on the 4K camera as well as the baby monitor and you can sort of put the two together. So in summary, these devices are far too flawed to be used to gather any form of evidence, whereas a CCTV camera, at least even these small cheap ones, are at least designed to look across a whole room. But you have to understand, even with these, the technical flaws, and then look at adopting more reliable tools. These TV cameras, They may be a bit of an upgrade from a baby monitor, but they're not perfect. My Sony AX53, it's not perfect. You'll still get some artifacting in night vision. But as long as the investigator is aware of that, it's not a huge problem. When the fiction bleeds into reality then, and it's like, we captured a ghost on a baby monitor. No, you didn't. We've captured a ghostly voice on a video monitor. No, you didn't. That's not what these things are designed for. Let me know your thoughts on the comment section down below about the use of baby monitors. I think we should discount anything from them. This was actually a viewer request. They've emailed me. I'm not going to read the name out because they haven't said that they want their name read out, but I appreciate people asking me to look into these tools that people are using, because I know what to stay away from. Much love to you all. Beardo out.